Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Technical Analysis Made Simple. The last week was very interesting. We will also discuss some of the charts that relates various asset class. This will give us an indication as to how people are trying to factor in the risk at the moment. We will be looking at bond chart and along with that the equity charts that we see regularly. So the two major global events are still dominating. That is the rising number of cases and the US election. However, let us first understand how these are actually working. Exactly. That is how the US election is playing out. The two parties are putting up a tough tussle, and it looks very likely that the Democrats might win, but then we never know. Let's see. So this will keep the markets busy and more likely volatile. The next event, that is the rising number of cases, it is an obvious overhang on the markets. If the elections get resolved and the cases still gets rising or there are fresh lockdowns around the world, then it can be very negative for the markets. Now let's dive into the charts and see how they look like and what are the levels we need to be aware of. Let's start with the chart of Dow Jones. We will be doing a multi-time frame analysis including weekly and daily time frames. So on weekly time frame, this looks very bullish. See how it wanted to go down, but last week it bounced up very well. So this downfall was like 6% and we bounced around 6.7%. It has also formed a bullish engulfing here. So this is very bullish. Let's see how the daily chart looks like. So if you look the daily chart, it's moving in a channel. So if you try to plot it, it will look something like this. So that's how it's moving, and now it is trying to resist here. Also note that these two lines that are marked, that is 28,800 and 29,000, the level between them, it is a supply zone. So now this is trying to enter a supply zone, and here some profit taking might be expected. I am not saying it is bearish, but then it can find difficulty to go above. If it crosses this level and sustains above, then there can be a very, very big momentum coming in. For now, these are the levels we need to take care of. There can be a intermediate support which can be marked here. There can be an intermediate support which can be marked here. So in case price get rejected from here, the first place where it will find support is around 27,400. This is Nasdaq chart. As you can see, this is bullish as well. So there was a big up move, then there is some consolidation, and it has a big green candle, which is again a bullish engulfing, and it looks like it is trying to come out of consolidation. Tech is also expected to do good because this is considered as a defensive sector. So if there are uncertainties, generally tech does good. So according to this chart, this is very bullish. If we go to the daily time frame, here we can see that the price has stalled near the top. There is a high possibility that it can shoot up. Even if it starts coming down, the first line of defense will be 11,600 levels, and from there it can again take up. So it can go possibly like this. So let's see how this pans out. This is the DAX index, that is Germany's index. So this looks bullish as well. However, this is lesser bullish as compared to the US indices. If you see, there was a clear breakdown here and then it bounced back. So the breakdown is negated now. If it starts going above, the first resistance that it will face is around 13,300. We need to take care of that level. There is also an intermediate resistance which also looks pretty strong, that is around 13,000 levels. So 13,000 and 13,300 are critical levels here. In any case, if it falls back down, this area is acting as a demand zone. If it falls back again, then I think there will be a proper downtrend coming in. On the domestic front, there was one important news, that is the Bihar elections. If BJP wins that, it will be a very important win for them. Also, the results are expected to come around 10th. So we need to see how that pans out. Let's dive into the charts and see how they look. With respect to Nifty, as you can see, there is a clear breakout here. This is trying to approach the all-time high of 12,430 from where the fall started, the peak of that fall. Now it is trying to go there. I would ideally expect it to hit this level, come back, retrace a bit, and then go above. However, we don't know how the global scenario is panning out, but let's see how this works out. With respect to the daily time frame, this is very bullish. This rally looks very bullish. So this chart is bullish as well. Coming to Bank Nifty chart looks very bullish. This has given a higher percentage rally as compared to Nifty. That is because Nifty is already near its all-time high, but Bank Nifty is still to catch up. Now, notice one thing here. This area that is marked, this will act as a supply zone here. You can see how change of polarity is also acting here. This area will act as a supply zone here. See how change of polarity is also acting here. In my second video of support and resistance, I have discussed this concept. Do check that out. So once Bank Nifty crosses 27,625, 630 levels, then there can be a very swift up move. But till then, it is possible that Bank Nifty can get rejected from here. So we need to observe that. With respect to daily time frame, we can mark support areas here. That is, the first line of support will be this peak because it was facing difficulty crossing this. Now, if it starts falling, then this will be a good support point, that is 25,200 levels. And on the upside, this level is very critical. We need to see how Bank Nifty reacts in this level. Okay, this is multi-asset class analysis. So here we are trying to analyze how Dow performed as compared to the 10-year bond that they have. Well, let me give you a background on this. Ideally, whenever equity market rises, bond falls, and if bond rises, equity market falls. That is because of the transfer of fund from one place to another. Consider it like this. If people will see risk in the equity markets, they will try to put money in the bond market because although the return will be less, but it is a safer investment. You can consider it as a safe haven. On the flip side, if equity market looks promising and if the situation looks good, then people take out money from the bond market and start investing in the equity market again. Here the red line, this represents the bond market or the bond prices, and the blue line that represents the Dow, that is the equity market. Consider one thing, when this crash came, the bond prices rised, correct? So why did this happen? Because here people were seeing a risk and they had started investing in the bond market. So see how the it skyrocketed. Why did the bond price rise? Because people were buying here, right? Without buying, the price will not rise ideally. Again, when the equity market bottomed out and it started rising, the bond market fell. Well, so a thing to note here is if we see this last leg, here the equity market is also rising and the bond market is also rising. It is also looking like the bond market is trying to form a bottom here. In case that happens, then there will be a mutual risk associated here. Consider it like this, that the late sellers are trapped here and the early buyers or the people who see risk earlier, they are moving to bonds, and both of these cannot rise simultaneously. See this level. Here there was a rise, here also there was a rise, and then finally equity market had to fall. Correct? This last leg of rise, the bonds fell and then it shot up. On this rising leg, here you can see the equity and bond both were rising, and finally one market has to fall. So here a similar scenario can be brewing. I am saying can be. It is not necessary, but this is what charts are saying. And this is what the participant action is speaking. Now let's review how the previous pick of the week is working. I am still not comfortable giving a new pick of the week because the next week can again be very volatile. So let's see how the previous one is working, that is Cosmo. Okay, now let's discuss how the previous pick of the week is performing. So if you remember, I had given 440 as the stop loss and 525 as the target. These levels are already marked. We can see that it is following this trend line, which is pretty steep. So it is forming a strong momentum here. Second thing, we discussed this stock 2 weeks prior, that is on this week. And now 2 weeks we have passed, 440 is not breached. That is on the closing basis. We need to check that on the closing basis. Let's go to the daily chart. If you see the daily chart, there were two closing below that, 440, but then the market reversed. So obviously, if you have not yet exited your positions, hold on to it. If you have exited, you can buy this again because it is near the buy price again. So you see this downfall, this was on a lower volume. Here the volumes are high, which means here buyers came in, and this candle here again volumes are high as compared to the red candles. So here there is a buyer interest, there is a clear buyer interest that is visible. Now again it might be getting ready to hit 525 level. Your stop loss will be this low, which is 428. Below 428 it is a must exit. Overall, the next week is expected to be volatile again. We are hitting a very important resistance zone. Also, the uncertainty around the elections and the rising number of cases will obviously be an overhang on the markets. So, it is again a time to be very cautious. Follow your plan. Do not get into the fear of missing out zone. That's all for this video. Thank you so much.